Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to TPL and XGS hosting the finale. We're back with some old names from the previous game as well as some new ones. And I am joined by Bianca.
What's up, Ali? Happy Sunday. How are you doing on this lovely Sunday evening? It sounds like you're a little bit excited. Are you? Or are you a little bit of a Debbie Downer on this Sunday because tomorrow's back to work?
I mean, I had work today and I will have work tomorrow. So I am living. I also live in Florida, so I'm just kind of in a perpetual cycle of heck, as we like to say here on the broadcast.
Chaos.
That being said, though, do get a little bit of escape with Rainbow Six Siege. So I think we should, since there are lots of players in the lobby, and I know they can be impatient, kind of get things underway, so we can look at the teams here, starting with No MAMES WEY, who you just saw if you watched the previous game. HUD, Teak, Drix, Reapers, and Joe, friend of the broadcast. And they actually do have a very real chance of qualifying for the play-in. Turtle Tactics are probably out by this point, but if No MAMES WEY win at least one map, even if they lose, they should be set for play-in since they have the tiebreaker against the Unks. So there is a lot riding on this game for No MAMES WEY.
Well, on the flip side of the coin, let's take a look at the other team that we're going to be getting to see play tonight on the side of Turtle Tactics, which Turtle Tactics had played last night, and I believe that they lost. Turtle Tactics lost 2-0. So that was unfortunate. Maybe we'll be seeing a little bit of a better performance tonight, but as you said, as you said, anyway, okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, moving over to the rosters. Wait, Zonky, okay, wait. Yesterday, Zonky was gone. He was on vacation. Not sure if Zonky is going to have his sub. I believe yesterday Ice Cold had subbed in for him. So whether or not Zonky will actually be... Oh, there we go. Just got word. Zonky is back. So yesterday he had a sub. This time around he's not going to have a sub. So it will be Zonky, Trev, Spider, Millie, and Dami. The same people from yesterday that had played. And like you had mentioned, No MAMES WEY just need one map tonight to secure themselves, I believe, a spot in the plans. But anyways... Moving forward onto the map as my favorite part, which somebody had spoiled a little bit of it for me. We're going to be going to Bank. I love Bank. It's like a home court advantage for me. And then we're going to be going to Clubhouse. And then finally, Chalet for the decider.
We want to highlight the things that were banned a little bit as well, because the journey of how we get to the maps, I think, is just as interesting in the maps in a lot of cases. And what I think is really kind of specifically interesting about that, at least for the first half, is that Skyscraper and Consulate, which I would argue are very similar in the way they play, were both banned by Turtle Tactics, because they're both maps that are very friendly for the defense, that require a ton of coordination to really make a dent on attack. And honestly, maps where, like, discombobulation within your ranks is very easy to punish. And Lair is very much the same, which was the first map banned by No MAMES WEY. Although, Cafe kind of veers out of that pattern that I just highlighted a little bit, as it is more default. And then Border being banned by Turtle Tactics is one that I think is very interesting, because that's a very gunfight-heavy map, and it's very friendly to the attack. And so to me, that kind of suggests that Turtle Tactics they're thinking that No MAMES WEY are going to be a team that will benefit from that hyper-aggression that can be rewarded on Border, and they want to take them as somewhere like Clubhouse or Bank, like we see, where it is a little bit easier to rein that in. And then obviously Labs being banned out. I would say that Labs and Clubhouse are kind of two sides of the same coin. And so I kind of expect to see Labs be picked, to be honest, but Chalet also doesn't really surprise me, since that is one of the very, very default maps that are within the game right now.
I'm not too annoyed at Chalet either. I think Chalet is the maps, like you said, one of the main ones that ends up getting picked, but I always feel like I enjoy watching teams play it. I'm very happy, though, that we are going to be going to Bank first. It's another one of those maps that is, I mean, I feel like it's not as commonly picked as maps like Clubhouse, like Chalet, but one of the more favored maps to go to. I love Bank. I absolutely love it. I love seeing teams play on it, and I hope that this game will, or at least this map, will be good for either of these teams. Like we had mentioned, No Mama's Way, they just need one map, I believe, to make their way into the play-in. So as long as they don't get sweep this game 2-0, then they should be okay. As for Turtle Tactics, um, I guess they're looking to try and disrupt No Mama's Way and their flow as best as they possibly can. Um, did we get to do bans on Bank? Or was that already done when we didn't, when we, I saw this, like, that little preview. I don't think we, oh, the bans.
All right. So we are being told to throw to a quick break because there was unfortunately a technical issue. I know, shocking, but it happens sometimes, and I'd rather it happen before the game than the middle, so it gives everyone time to get up, grab a snack, and come back before the game, but don't go anywhere too far because we will be back soon.
Whoop, Yo, yo, yo.
Welcome back once again. Wait, I think there was all right, I misunderstood what was being yelled at me, but that's okay. We're back.
We're back better than ever. Everything is fixed
Yeah.
now, it seems like. You know, no more, hopefully, God willing, no more disruptions, no more technical issues during the stream for tonight. As we had mentioned, the first map is going to be Bank. They did the band operators, but I guess it didn't show. So now we're gonna be here to take a look at them. Um, we're not changing the operators, so they're just gonna pick the same ones that they had before. Blackbeard to be the first one to be taken out, and then Monty, the second one. Seems like both of these teams don't want to deal with some shields. Didn't mean to rhyme there, but yeah, they don't want to deal with no shield, and I don't blame them because I don't want to deal with them either. Haid will be the first defender off the board. What do you think will be the last one, Mr. Ali?
Could be a Valkyrie. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Mira or like an Azami, to be honest. Maybe a Jaeger if they're feeling spicy, but yeah.
No.
Valkyrie is
Val.
on this map. I mean, she's good on every map, but like Bank is a map that rewards just very good information gaming. If you know where to place the cameras and then how to utilize that to guide what your teammates are doing on Roam, it is so powerful on this map. Not to mention the fact that she has a C4 and there are a lot of soft floors that you have to clear her over when you are roam clearing, so it just kind of makes sense that they want her gone.
I just want to point this out. I love Teak's name. It's like that drink, Twisted Tea, but it's Twisted Teak. I love that so much. That might be one of my favorite,
Beautiful.
like my favorite names. Yeah, you know what? The creativity that you're able to have on PC, or at least this that I see on PC Rainbow versus console. So I love that so much. Twisted Teak. I think that's got to be top 5. But anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. I love that name. We're going to be going to the basement for the first defensive round. No Mama's Way are going to be the ones to start on defense, as this is Turtle Tactics map pick. And look at this top floor little extension kind of thing going on in open. Not top floor, but in that main floor, having this main, that main open area extended out using the castle is quite interesting. I don't get to see that too often.
Yeah, it's not like an unheard of thing. Like I've definitely seen it a couple times. I've probably run a setup similar to that when I played competitive, but Millie runs right into the waiting arms of Twisted Teak and gets sent into a body bag as our first kill of this game. And that losing that Grim early on is a very big deal. Is not only is that kill being uncontested, but Grim has a lot of great utility for the execute and a lot of great ability to completely displace people as well. So that's something that's really going to hurt Turtle Tactics going into this execute. So, gonna have the Blitz running into open area, running towards open area rather, to just kind of take some space here, clear some things out. Zonky is over by Marble Stairs, so we can kind of help clear that out a little bit as well. But the defenders have fallen back. They have the man advantage here, the defenders, and even though the attack has a lot of time, there's still certainly an advantage to just keeping the bodies up. If they can force Turtle Tactics to execute into a 4 versus 5, that'll be absolutely huge. And especially if they can use some things like the smoke canisters and the mirror windows and the Subaru to just waste a little bit more time, especially with the loss of that Grim that I was kind of highlighting earlier. That could really be something that's massive for No Mama's Way. Although Trebmac and Dami are really going to want to look at poking into the site here, seeing if they can dislodge anyone. Probably going to have a backstab going down bottom Marble as well, just to kind of spice things up a little bit and create an alternate area of pressure that No Mama's Way have to deal with.
Well, now moving on to the final 45 seconds of this round. Turtle Tactics still down 1 man. And if you guys weren't seeing the stream yesterday, Turtle Tactics did not do that good when it came to their late round executes. Hopefully, you know, a day later, a different team they'll be slightly better, but it's 30 seconds. They do have a hold of the bomb. It is going to be Mr. Trevmac, but he's in the main lobby. Now he's finally dropped, actually, he's dropped into Vault. And so it seems like he's going to be raining some tear, and there we go, him and Spider both. Going to be getting a couple of picks for themselves. Going to be a 2v4. Now that late game is looking quite nice. The boys on Turtle Tactics has a beautiful, only losing one player on their team right at the beginning. We're able to maintain their composure, and they made their way in through very nicely. Amazing. And No Mama's Way, despite having that man advantage, got overwhelmed in the late game and got absolutely picked apart by Turtle Tactics. That was a beautiful round for Turtle Tactics.
Yeah, I mean, they did get that man advantage early, and they did preserve it, but they also gave enough time for Turtle Tactics to really work the map very effectively, because there was about 90 seconds left by the time that everyone on No Mama's Way had fallen back. I do see it. I'm just ignoring it. Don't worry. 5% ABV is actually higher than I thought it would be.
I feel like 5% is normal.
Well, I've never
5%
looked
is
at like a
normal.
twisted. I've never looked at the ABV of a twisted tea. I haven't seen one. I haven't had one since the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was still relevant. So like,
bro, did they just make this right now? Can I please get some confirmation? Did they just make this right now, or is this pre-done? They said they just made that right now. That was beautiful. Oh my god, I love that.
dude, Table could be like a painter in the Renaissance.
He's got that type of he's got that type of cultural that cultural reset that he brings every time, you know, with his artwork. It's a complete change, man. It's revolutionary. But anyways, we'll see if this round is going to be another revolutionary. Oh. Oh my god, this is so cute. Mid-execute like this. Ying bombs Candela's flying now. We got Twisted Teak flying around, and we got a big thank you, Matt, for always keeping it a little bit exciting, a little bit different. 2 minutes now remaining in the round, and Zonky's gonna be the first one to find himself dead. Twisted Teak, speak and it shall be done. Not only that, but actually 3 kills coming out in the favor of the boys on No Mama's Way. It's gonna be a 4th one. Mr. Teak is going to find himself his second. It's gonna be up to Mr. Dommy, left in a 1v5. Not looking too good for him. They absolutely know he's going to be inside of this elevator, and at the very least, it's not going to be a flawless round, as Dommy is going to be able to find himself one, but is he going to be able to find himself a second? No, HUD. Slow him down and shut him down. A 4-1 victory. Turtle Tactics now a 4-1 victory for No Mama's Way, as they've evened up the score.
There was an initial retreat after all of that utility was sent into open area, which I think is what Turtle Tactics were looking for, but a lot of that retreat was to power positions, because No Mama's Way know that if you throw a bunch of Ying Candelas into an area, you're probably going to want to get yourself into that area at some point within the near future. And so they fall back to positions that are adjacent, that they know they can hold on to. So then when Turtle Tactics tries to get in, you have a bunch of people just kind of sticking their faces out of power positions, which I don't think Turtle Tactics were really anticipating it being played that way. They probably expected either like a full retreat or just hanging on to the space. And so because No Mama's Way took that in the unorthodox fashion that they did, it throws Turtle Tactics for a loop and allows them to get in there, and allows them to get those picks as Turtle Tactics are getting into the map.
Well, now moving to this third defensive round for No Mama's Way, they did go up to that top floor, as they had won the previous round, and I like this little mirror going on. I feel like Mira is very situational, depending on the team, whether or not they actually incorporate her into their lineups or not. But I like this, having her on that top floor. I always find when players play her, it's very interesting, because I kind of get cheeky too. I like to use where they put their mirrors as well. It's like, yeah, man, I know this is from these really good players. They're locked in like that. Anyways, I digress. To see how Turtle Tactics decide to respond back after that previous round. They had a really good start off at the first round, amazing job. And then the second round, they just kind of got absolutely picked out one by one by one by one by one. No Mama's Way really good at bouncing back. We'll see if they're going to be able to emulate that same defensive strategy again and bring home another victory for this victory royale in this round, or if Turtle Tactics are going to come in under their feet and swoop it out again.
I mean, they don't have a bad setup to execute onto this side, although I'm interested to see how long it takes them to do so, as we see right now that none of us are very keen on just wasting their time as much as humanly possible, and that's given Turtle Tactics some issues. We've already seen both Twitch drones get shut out before really having the impact they want. And then that mirror window is also just in a very precarious position, although the plan's just going to be capital things off, throw the sense in, all with the Dokkaebi, and all run in at once.
Let's see how this execute continues, because nobody has actually lost their lives. And I spoke too soon. TrevMac will be the first one to lose his life. I was going to say, nobody's lost their life, nobody's taken any damage, but unfortunately, TrevMac, also a big pivotal player, or big pivotal operator, a Capitan, really good for closing off certain sections and lines of sight. Fortunately, he's going to be dead. Turtle Tactics going to be down one player, but the score gets equalized out by Mr. Domit, as it's going to take down Mr. Joe. Now, just under a minute remaining in the round, it's going to be a 4v4. Like I said, it's a leveled out playing field, but we'll see how Turtle Tactics are going to be able to make their way in. Like I had said yesterday, Turtle Tactics, not the greatest team at the late game, and it seems like all these rounds, or at least the rounds that are really coming down to the wire, it's the late game, and at the very least, you know, the first round that it happened, they did a great job. So hopefully, they'll be able to do an even better job now that we're going to be approaching these final 30 seconds of the round.
So much time has been wasted here, which really is going to come and bite them. I mean, there's 20 seconds left, and they don't really have a great way to get into the site here.
Jeez, now it's really gone down to the wire. In 10 seconds, at the very least, Zonky does have a hold of that bomb. HUD is going to find himself a second kill, and unfortunately, the boys on Turtle Tactics are just going to be falling to the dust. Million left in a 1v3, and well, time runs out. 10 seconds remaining. Of course, we saw as they were making their way in, and that did not last long at all. That was not the way to go. Seemed like sight was impenetrable. Like I said, No Mama's Way wasted a lot of time, and at the same time, Turtle Tactics also wasted a lot of time, too much time. So, second, or that third round is gonna go in the way of No Mama's Way.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being.
I mean, there's just like, there's the shield in, or outside stock hall that is just standing. There is the Arudi gate on that mirror window, which is set up deliberately to waste Turtle Tactics time. And then they did, I don't know if it was intended to be this way, but like a false execute initially, which wasted a lot of utility and just more time. And after they didn't execute at that point, it just kind of seemed like they weren't really sure what to do to break into the site at that point. Because you have a lot of people rotating around, doing stuff, just kind of fishing, but like, no one was actually making a concrete effort to get in until the very last seconds.
And I'm not sure Turtle Tactics, they did that a lot previously. They seem to be a team that does that. They take a little bit too much time. You know, even times where Turtle Tactics will have an advantage and they won't really know what to do with it. I hope that, you know, this map will kind of help them shift over to being able to utilize everything, but also effectively and then, you know, time efficiently. You don't want to be waiting that long for the end of the round, because at the same time, like, you know, you take all those times to drone out those corners, but when there's only 10 seconds left and you really haven't, like, put your foot into sight, you know, you still gotta be aware of what's happening by sight and around sight, in sight, you know, etc. But see how this round is going to go for them. Is the kitchen, that open area, is going to be the bomb site for the boys on No Mama's Way. Having a little bit of this vert as well opened up. Zonky looking to see what he can do. But as for the boys on No Mama's Way, it seems like everybody's basically in and around site except for Drix, who's going to be up on that second floor. Everybody else seems to be on the main floor, in and around site. And that's about it. No crazy overextensions of roaming or anything. Well,
for once, Turtle Tactics have gotten the openers. They've gotten 2 in a row. They almost get a third, but HUD manages to catch Dami. Gonna bring things back a little bit, but there's been some good control taken by Turtle Tactics, which is gonna put some pressure on these two roamers to get back very, very quickly, because Reapers being alone could potentially be overwhelmed here if Turtle Tactics realize it and try to go for something.
See, No Mama's Way are going to be down a man, but Turtle Tactics, like I said, they often have man advantages. Not often, but when they have the man advantages, sometimes they're not really able to capitalize on it very well. Now there's just about a minute remaining in the round. Still, where V3 Turtle Tactics, Mr. Damos actually, Millie is going to be very aware of a player's position. Spider is going to be the first one to fall, and along with that is going to be Millie. No Mama's Way, with that man disadvantage, will now bring themselves to a man advantage. They're going to take 2, and now they're up with it. It's going to be 40 seconds remaining for Zombie and Trev. They're going to have to start making their way in through sight. It's going to be a little bit harder, especially because of the fact that, they don't have disposable drones, and not only that, but they don't have a lot of time to really check all of their corners. Unfortunately, Zonky is going to be the first of the two to get taken out. It's going to be up to Mr. Trev Mac in a 1v3. Now 20 seconds, he has the bomb, but I mean, what can he really do with it when there's such little time? There's going to be somebody over by that main lobby area, and it's going to be Drix to find him out and finish him off. No Mama's Way, a beautiful defensive round for them, and Turtle Tactics, yet again, taking a little bit too long to make their way through. They're a little bit unsteady. Is that the right word? They're a little bit unstable, a little bit uncertain. A little bit uncertain.
And they just didn't, play their positions well, I think, in that late round. They have the 4 versus 3 man advantage, and they should know about where Reapers is. Someone should have droned that, but instead, they let 2 picks fall in a row there, which then brings them from, honestly, probably the best position they've been in before an execute to one that is just kind of hopeless. And it's something that's really interesting to see from a team like Turtle Tactics, because you do expect them to be very calm in the late rounds, right? You expect them to know how to cross their T's and dot their I's very effectively, but that hasn't really manifested a whole lot in their play style. I mean, there is the possibility for them to be, I think they are in the last place in their group right now, and they could potentially stay there if this keeps happening.
Turtle Tactics?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I feel like a lot of, they have, the basic, they have that basic foundation. I'm not really sure. I think the worst part about them, not necessarily the worst, but the thing that they have to work on the most is that time management. I think that's what really bites them in the butt, more times than they'd like to think. But, with every team, there's always going to be flaws and whatnot. So as long as you're able to build upon it and, do better later on, then you can work together and, end up doing much better. But we'll see, as we're going to be defending this basement site. Oh Mama's Way has brought us back down here, as, of course, they've did that 3-round rotation. So the basement is where they're going to be, but Reapers is not going to be in the basement. He's going to be up on that 2nd floor, and he's going to be a very cheeky one. Sledge, it's going to be Zonky on his camera, actually. This might, oh my goodness. I hope that this isn't going to go bad, but I'm sure he hears him running down those marble stairs. He's going to let him go free. It's going to be somebody else, and he gets taken down. It's going to be Dami. Not only that, but Zonky is also gonna get punished for being around Mr. Dami as he was running down those marble stairs. That's unfortunate, but Reapers, an amazing 2-piece for him, and he's a wanted man now with a bounty on his head. Spiders looking to avenge his teammates.
Just that, not doing that due diligence, that's costed you so much of your power. I mean, the rest of the players on No Mama's Way have vacated the 1st floor for the most part, but look at this. Turtle Tactics are petrified because of the position they know Reapers occupies. And because of that Hibana being gone, their hard breach capabilities are severely limited compared to what they were before. Not to mention that the flashbangs are now gone. And they still, no matter what they do, they have to be worried about Reaper's position. And he knows that. He could just go for something else. Why not get a 3-piece while you're at it? Teek's gonna tag on for another as well. That's going to leave Spider in a 1 versus 5 with only 40 seconds left, no utility to do it, and he's completely separated from the diffuser.
Yeah, this is... Whoa. Hey, that was nice, but not sure how nice the rest of this round is going to go for Mr. Spider and for the rest of the boys on Turtle Tactics. He's got 20 seconds. He does not have the bomb, so he is going to have to look for those heads. But, I mean, it seems like damage is already done. And there you go, Joe Mama to take down Mr. Spider. No mama's way. Holding this site down beautifully. Not only that, not just the site, but the map itself. An amazing job to them, and that leaves 4 uncontested rounds. No Mama's Way are on an absolute heater right now.
I think that's one way to put it. I mean, it's been very weird watching this game a little bit. I mean, I would describe a lot of what we've seen as tomfoolery and shenanigans, because that was a great play by Reaper, right? Like, I do want to make that clear. I do think that was a good play. He read into the weaknesses that Turtle Tactics had, and also the fact that no one was present in a position remotely like his the previous 2 times that they had defended the basement, so Turtle Tactics didn't think there would be a roamer that was that aggressive. And then he played his hands perfectly after they knew where he was. He just sat still and waited. Because just being alive in that position they knew he was in was just so threatening, on top of the kills he got, and then just getting another one on the Trebmac is icing on that cake.
Especially haven't seen any blitz. I feel like even, you know, with
We did
the
round 1.
BB ban and the Monty ban, I'm surprised that we're not seeing a little bit of blitz action. I feel like blitz typically does still end up getting played. At least, you know, we're 6 rounds in. I'm surprised we haven't seen a blitz yet. But anyways, I'm even more surprised we got a Callie this time around. Callie being the sniper, she is going to be joining the offensive lineup for the boys on Turtle Tactics. And we'll see if No Mama's Way are going to continue on with this aggressive, not even aggressive, but just this very sheltered in and, you know, bunkered down type of defense. They've not, I feel like if anybody's really roaming, it's only one person that's kind of doing the most, and then everybody else is basically in and around site, chilling and just holding it down. Not sure if they realize that Turtle Tactics are not the best at, you know, letting the clock run, but they've been playing great so far. And one thing that I really like about them is the fact that they know when to be aggressive and when to, you know, let it be cool. Turtle Tactics, I find that they're just not aggressive enough on the offense.
See Joe in a very aggressive position here. Just occupying a position that he knows will be threatening with little risk, as Reapers gets a kill, HUD gets a kill as well. And they decimate the early entries from Turtle Tactics. Trevmac is still in a great position here at the bottom of Banana Stairs, but he is going to have a hell of a fight coming at him if he chooses to take this engagement farther. And so instead, he's going to choose to remain cautious, try to preserve what little bodies the attack still has before slowly making his way up off of that fire.
We'll see. At the very least, it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get his friend, Mr. Reapers. His Reapers is going to be DB at node, and as of right now, it just seems like he's going to be a lost cause. But no, never mind. He does end up getting picked up back by his other teammate. These firebolts are going to be able to stop potential forward pushes or forward advances from the defense. And not only that, but a little bit of smoke to come in to deny some of those lines of sight. But their tactics, not down just 1 player. They're going to be down 2 players with 30 seconds again. It's a late or a later-ish round type of situation. I'm not sure how they managed to get themselves in this situation every single time, but mind you, this is also, you know, the round before split. This could be a potential 5-1 split if the boys of Turtle Tactics do not do something about that. And Millie's going to get taken out of 4v2. Still, No Mama's Way have that 2-man advantage, make it a 3-man advantage. And No Mama's Way playing incredible, or are Turtle Tactics just not playing good enough? I don't know why it takes them so long, why we have people still repelled outside of windows when there is only a minute remaining and you're down 2 players.
I mean, I think that I want to be careful. I think, or I try to be careful usually when criticizing a team too harshly, just because I think that there's always two sides to that coin, which is for a team to play badly and have it go poorly, the other team has to be punishing them. And I think WEY have done a phenomenal job of reading into what Turtle Tactics is struggling with, right? I highlighted it earlier with like the play of Reapers, like kind of reading into like what the attack from Turtle Tactics was going to look like and then taking advantage of that. But we see in these positions there is a constant attempt from WEY to just be annoying whatever ways they can, right? We see Joe very early on in a hyper aggressive position over by that little hallway on the site. And then again, we see them, once they know where players are, they're trying to peek them and take those fights and make Turtle Tactics uncomfortable so they never truly have a foothold in the round.
Well, I will say, like I said, Turtle Tactics did end up playing last night. I bring it up just because it's it's so fresh in my memory. But Turtle Tactics' their main problem is time management. And if No Mama's Way understand that, they are able to capitalize off of that because it just doesn't seem like Turtle Tactics have really been able to adapt to the fact that, or change their playstyle to adapt to the fact that they aren't so good at managing their time. Late game is not for them, and it's a little bit disheartening. Hopefully the defense is going to be a little bit better for them. Reapers, he was doing incredible, still is doing incredible. 8-1, is looking for a couple picks himself. Zonky might be put in a bad situation. I'm sure that all these players are aware that, in and around these main stairs there are going to be people, but the first one to get taken down and punished is going to be Mr. Reaper. Turtle Tactics. We're up a man now. Simple refright. Come out. It's going to be a 4v4 now. Minute 40 remaining. And hopefully Turtle Tactics are going to be able to hold this site down to the best of their abilities.
But honestly, if I'm Turtle Tactics, I'm taking that trade any day of the week. Reapers has been a terror this game, and he is gone. Even though that Fenrir can no longer manipulate his gadgets if he needs to, you've gotten rid of the main fragger for the other side. And there's still people like Drix's and Teak who have been doing very, very well, but they have been nothing compared to the terror that Reapers alone has been outputting. And now it's just about keeping WEY from eroding the utility too fast. You want to keep those go canisters up for as long as possible so they can't comfortably get into the site, which unfortunately does not end up manifesting. But now they need to make sure that those bulletproof cameras and things like the goo mines and the smoke canisters are used to great effect. So WEY are struggling with time management in the late round.
Yeah, it seems like both of these teams are not too sure how they should attack and how to manage their time. Not only that, but Spider has 3 toxic gas canisters in his pocket. One of them is going to be exploded and utilized, but still, you got 25 seconds and you still got 2 smoke canisters left in your pocket. That is absolutely incredible. Now I'm going to make it 1, but I mean, better use it now because you're not going to be able to use it any other time. The yin candles are going to be coming out as well as the smokes. Ibana, Mr. Joe is going to try and start to get this plant down. Seems like Spider's going to be the first one. He's going to be kill onto Teak. And 5 seconds from on top of the hatch. They're going to be watching. That's going to unfortunately be the demise. The boys on No Mama's Way. And Turtle Tactics winning their first defensive round, their first round on the defense. Amazing job. Much better at bunkering down. Like I said, it seems like, No Mama's Way are also having a bit of a trouble when it comes to time management, and Turtle Tactics respond perfectly by denying them.
Yeah, they played aggressive in that one spot over by main stairs, and then afterwards just kind of fell back and rested on their utility. Like I kind of said in the middle of that round, there was some that was definitely expended much earlier than they would have liked, namely those Goyo canisters. But even after those were gone, there still wasn't like panicking or like trying to lash out in ways they shouldn't, because they knew that at that point, no, didn't really have a ton to get rid of the remaining utility. And Spider, especially, saving those smoke canisters was actually huge in that round, since he manipulated where WEY had to execute when they actually wanted to make something happen. We saw them change what the plan was in the middle of things, which is often something that's very costly to do, as we see that it certainly is there for No Mama's Way.
At the very least, No Mama's Way can afford to lose a couple more rounds because they're in a great position. They win one more round and they're going to put themselves at match point. Total Tactics are really the team that need to be very careful with how they continue to play this game because No Mama's Way had beautiful momentum, 5 straight rounds in a row for them. And so, at the very least, they're in a little bit of a wider position. They have a little bit more leeway. They're able to move around in their seat a little bit. Unfortunately, Turtle Tactics don't. At the very least, they can afford to lose one more round, but I don't think that they really want to when the round is this close. Regardless, just over 2 minutes remaining in the round, and nobody on the side of No Mama's Way has actually made their way into the building. You know, granted, it's only 45 seconds, about a minute. But at the very least, there are going to be, of course, entry positions and intel being collected so that they can safely make their way into the map. And the first one to get taken down is going to be Mr. Dommy by Mr. Hud's Stud.
Little utility off of the board, but just getting that man count, especially since it hasn't been contested yet, is going to be huge for the attackers here, as it just gives them room to breathe and a little bit more room to comfortably manipulate their opponents, who are, I mean, obviously down a man now. There's about 90 seconds left for them to work the site here as well, which, I mean, obviously we see them doing with that Flores. They also have that Ram, which can do a lot of damage. Joe can do some damage with his utility as well. And then that Yang will come in during the execute just to really jumble things up, discombobulate the defense, make them move around in ways that are going to be disadvantageous.
And so now this final minute into the round, Turtle Tactics still down a man, but No Mama's Way have to make their way in through. We'll see if they're going to plow their way through as well. Zonky being very cheeky down by these marble stairs, these main stairs. And there you go. There is the first pick onto Joe. The instant refrag that was going to come out is going to be a 4v3. Thought he was a little bit higher. Note, Mr. Cheek was basically on the same floor, the stair level as his teammate. Doesn't matter though, 30 seconds remaining, and Boys and Turtle Tactics are very aware of where most of the players are. At the very least, they're very aware of where he's going to be coming in from, and flashes are coming out. Everybody is starting to make their way in through sight. Turtle Tactics falling, but not without a fight. It's going to be a pick for a pick. It's going to be the refrag. It's going to be now an effective 1v3. No. Boys on No Mama's Way close that out. A great job to them, and unfortunately, Turtle Tactics now in a definite position where they cannot make any mistakes, as No Mama's Way have secured themselves match point, and this game has not been going on for too long either. They've done it quite fast and aggressively, despite how long some of these rounds have gone down to the wire.
I mean, they've been playing very, very well, No Mama's Way. And I think that round especially, like, I mean, obviously they get that opening pick, but they're very good at tempering the aggression. They're not like you'll see a lot of teams that they're aggressive all the way through a round, or like passive all the way through. But you'll see there'll be like a burst of aggression, they'll get a pick, they'll brace for the refrag attempt, and then they'll take that time, once they've kind of cleared the things they need to and have some good positions, to just work things. They send utility at the site, they open up more angles, they drone things out, they figure out where everything is, and then once they have the information and that man count advantage, then they all go and bust down the front door, and then they execute.
They're busting it down, they're getting it open. See if they bust it down one more time. Joe is gonna get busted down, DBNO'd. Not sure by whom, but it don't matter. It seems like his teammates are gonna be there to pick him up. But that's not, I mean, at the very least he's not dead, but he's definitely shaved off a big portion of his HP. So, not the best position that you want to be, especially when it's this early off in the game. However, at the same time, a headshot can mean your life. So whether or not you're at 100 HP or as low as 1, as long as you're able to hit the headshot, then you should be good to go. If it registers, of course, because you know sometimes that doesn't happen. Anyways, just over 2 minutes remaining in the round, and other than Mr. Joe, nobody else is taking damage. Nobody else has died. Good. It would have been a little bit too early for a teammate to be taken out, and of course, no MAMES WEY slowly but surely making their way in through. At the very least, we're gonna have Mr. Teak. I almost called him Twisted Teak. Teak and Reapers have already made their way in through to the building, along with Mr. Hut. Seems like these three boys are gonna be moving in slowly but surely. And as for Mr. Drix and Joe, they're going to be staying outside on Rappel, which I'm sure is part of their strategy, essentially to just basically watch and catch Turtle Tactics off guard if they're running into positions that they shouldn't be. Mr. Millie will be the first one to fall. It's going to be on to Reapers. He's already in the building, though. So, seems like he's just running his way through. He's already on that second floor. Not only that, but he's in stock. Gonna get DBNO'd, however, and it doesn't seem like anybody's gonna be able to help him out with that. However, T is gonna take down Mr. Zonky, and a 4v3 will quickly turn to a 3v3 as Dami gets that instant refract. Now, just over a minute remaining in the round, we'll see how Turtle Tactics are going to respond and try and hold it down.
Or I believe we have a listening actually prepared, so we could go ahead and throw it to that to see how no MAMES WEY do on their play-in qualification round.
Look, track him, I'm gonna hop in off it, okay? Ready?
No, I mean,
Long desk,
bro.
Long desk.
I
Dead.
killed
Jenga, I killed
Londesk
Jenga.
and Trump. Londesk and Trump.
Oh my
Maestro's
God.
long desk. He's on a
Hold
cam. He's on a cam.
You
So
can
only
walk
worry
up
about
long
Trump.
desk. He's long desk. You could just walk up.
You kill me, bro. That was 1 HP.
Fuck this fucking Fenrir.
I just had case. Fuck.
The Maestro on you, yeah.
Yeah, fucking.
He's gonna be long desk. Just fight Trump.
Recovered the bomb diffuser. 15 seconds left. 10 seconds to go. 5 seconds to go.
That's so
I
annoying.
actually made the play. No. I had the
Okay,
play.
bro.
I looked away as
Okay,
he's
listen,
doing it.
listen.
Fuck,
Like,
bro.
we have Capital gone 6. We have.
So unfortunately
that.
for them, not quite the result they would have wanted, but honestly, I kind of think it's going to highlight a Maestro at the very least, who's an operator that I think is fairly underrated. As just that pressure that we saw it exerting on both HUD and Joe in that late round was phenomenal. And you saw, I believe it was Spider on that Maestro, knew exactly what he was doing. And he leaned into that the
100%.
entire time. So they had
I
to
loved
dance
it.
around it. They had to play by his terms. And he fed information to Dami that whole time.
I love how every time they were trying to knife him, man, Spider's got like that hand on the mouse, man. He just flicks it up. Nope, you can't. Because of course, if you bash on Maestro Cam, then you're just gonna be able to break it. But oh my goodness, man, he's a star player on that Maestro. I feel like he should be playing that all the time, man. I like that. I'm gonna keep
Yeah,
it
I
a
would,
bug.
I'd say he had a Spider sense with those reflexes.
Bro, Allie, that was good. That was actually good. You guys have no clue how many bad jokes Allie makes. I actually will tell you, Allie. Bro, I love that. That really was a Spidey
brand.
sense. That was a beautiful. I want to highlight that and how amazing that was. The way that he was able to keep that cam alive, a pivotal reason as to why they won out that round. And, you know, they're alive. They're still kicking it. 3 rounds to go for OT. They're hoping to make it big. But anyways, moving forward, a blitz. It's going to be the first one to come in. It's going to be HUD. It's going to get taken down by Mr. Trev Mac. That Goyo pop. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Amazing job. That's going to be unfortunate. Now the boys on No MAMES WEY, not just a one-man disadvantage, making it 2-man as Mr. Millie is going to take down Mr. Teak. And it's going to be a 3v5. They're going to be careful. Drake's extremely low. There is also still going to be, it seems like, no, sorry, not Spider. It seems like it's Trev Mac at the bottom of those blue stairs. See what's going to happen with him. But regardless of what's going to happen with Trev Mac, Zonky is going to have a couple of bullets fired at him. And not only that, Reaper is going to unfortunately get picked up from not just one angle, but 2, leaving them in a 2v4 situation. Turtle Tactics looking amazing these last two defensive rounds. Still a minute 35. There's bare time left on the board for No Mama's Way to do something, but we'll see if they're going to be able to make a play and bring this round in their favor. Strix is going to find one. They're going to be looking for 3 more.
Yeah, but how low HP Drix is, just the smoke alone just has a WMD in his pocket effectively if Drix needs to walk on something. Twitch drone is going to be used to try to get some information and as well try to destroy some information the defenders have, but they're on top of their game for that this time. And they're still trying to be proactive with those EMPs those bulletproof cameras have. As the attack, they just need to figure out any information they can, find any gap that might exist, and then run right in as fast as they can before the defense has time to adapt.
Well, we'll see now these final 45 seconds. The Buzz on No Mama's Way are going to, at some point, be forced to just drop their way in through sight. And, you know, Turtle Tactics right now, everybody seems to be over just by this vault section. This is exactly we're going to be holding it out. And Joe, we're the first one to get taken down. Dami, damn! Damn! Dami! MP7 hit him from the long angle. Whoa! You snapped on him. Y'all like that? I definitely like that. Beautifully done. That MP7 is going to ring in both of their ears. No Mama's Way, 2 rounds still on the edge of winning it all. Well, winning it all, I mean winning this first map. This is the BO3. But Turtle Tactics, beautiful, amazing last 2 defensive rounds. They're looking a lot stronger than they were on the offense, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think as well there was like a little bit of an attempt to just go too fast from No Mama's Way there. As kind of before, one of the things that made them really good was the fact that they were very good at tempering their aggression, yes, but also crossing their T's and dotting their I's. Which is nerd speak for they didn't skip steps. They would set things up in the quiet periods of the round and then have the payoff once things were all set up properly. But in this previous couple rounds, they've been trying to get to the payoff without ever doing the setup. And if you've ever watched a guy at an open mic night, you have seen this happen many times. But without that setup properly in place, just the execute isn't going to land.
Well, hasn't landed these last 2 rounds, and maybe No Mama's Way are a little bit, what's the word? They're a little bit, not full of themselves, but they have that confidence. They're overconfident knowing that, you know, they've cleared out a good portion of this game in a great amount of time. Like we said previously, it was 6-2. Now 6-4 Turtle Tactics, not going down without a fight, and No Mama's Way are hopefully going to be able to, you know, be confident, but also be aware that your opponents are still playing, and it's not like it's some random lot of players. They're good at playing the game, and don't get overconfident. Always know that, you know, your opponent is your opponent. Don't try and do something funny and fast. You win out this map, and you're going to map 2. As for Turtle Tactics, like I said, they've been playing this great, and we see it's going to be up on this top floor. Over it's going to be Mr. Dami as the Azami. He was on that top floor. Maybe he realizes that it's going to be a little bit too risky. He's deciding that he's going to drop down that elevator hatch. And it seems like that top floor is going to basically be all for No Mama's Ways. Everybody else is either going to be, no, they were in the basement, now no longer. Everybody's going to be on this main floor for sight. And we'll see how this is going to continue, as there's a minute and a half remaining in the round. And nobody has taken damage or died just quite yet.
See some early bits of aggression from the Mama's Way early in the round that gets the ground they need. Now, again, like I was saying before, this is the stage in the round where you set things up. You make sure you have all your ducks in a row, and you do it carefully. So when you actually go for that execute, you're not fighting from a disadvantage. But this time, notably, Turtle Tactics haven't lost anyone just yet. They know what the game plan from the Mama's Way is. Until Millie bites the dust early on with less than a minute to go, that is a huge boon for No Mama's Way.
Beautiful. No Mama's Way now going to have that man advantage. Let's see if they're going to be able to capitalize on the fact that they are going to be up a player. Turtle Tactics in a good position Because the fact, not because that they have one less player, but because time is continuing to tick. No Mama's Way are gonna have to start making their way in through the bomb site. And I mean, they have this man advantage, but they don't have a lot of time to really take advantage of it. They're gonna have to push their way through, and you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. 2 smoke canisters are going to go off. Eternal Tactics, here we go. It just seems like their defense is starting to crumble. And the final round for Bang is going to be a flawless one by the boys on No Mama's Way. There you go. Amazing job from both team. Turtle Tactics played those 2 defensive rounds previously. Amazing, but unfortunately it's not enough. No Mama's Way are going to close out map 1 and effectively securing themselves a spot in the play-in as they have now 1 bank.
Yeah, I mean, very well done to them. Obviously, congratulations. They have, I mean, they've really leaped in today. Like, genuinely, like, No Mama's Way went from the last place team in their group to being in the play-ins, which is crazy. They've won, I believe, 3 maps in a row now, actually. Which is
Undefeated.
But it's great stuff from them. They are undefeated if you only count today, although I'd wager that the stats dorks out there are absolutely going to count more than today's map. Yeah, the Wikipedia is already updated. Turtle Tactics in 6th place in this group. No Mama's Way have, I think it placed them in, Wikipedia's placed them in 5th right now, but I believe they do get to play-ins, and they especially get to play-ins if they win the next map, which is their own map pick, I should add, Clubhouse, which gives them a lot of comfortability going into this next map, which, I mean, it's absolutely huge if you are a player, just that feeling.
100%. Winning anything is huge. Congratulations to No Mama's Way, however. Hey, the road is not cleared out just yet. We got a little bit more traveling to do. We're going to be traveling to Clubhouse, but it's going to take us a little bit of time to get there, so we're going to send you guys to a very quick break. About 5 minutes. Get yourself a snack. Go use the washroom, a cup of water, anything. Maybe a little coffee. We'll be seeing you guys back in 5 minutes-ish for map 2 and potentially the final map for today. my diggity dogs? Welcome back to the BO3 between No Mama's Way and Turtle Tactics. I'm here joined by the lovely Mr. Ali Souls. Ali, what's up, brother? My brother from another mother. What is up?
My ceiling.
Yo, there's another bad joke. Don't bring those around here, boy. You had your one good joke for the night. I'm kidding. I love
my
you,
floor
Ali.
is occasionally on top, like up if I fall over.
Oh, that's cute. I think I get
Just
it. Maybe
take
if I'm
a-
like
Take a tumble.
little bit of a tumble, a little bit of a fall. Hopefully you're not falling downstairs. That could spell disaster. Another thing that might
Yeah.
spell disaster
Well, those
for Turtle
don't
Tactics.
exist here, so
Disasters
no stairs.
or stairs? What? Y'all don't got stairs?
No, I don't even have a basement.
Oh my gosh. What, are you in Texas? I know they don't have basements in
Oh,
Texas.
I said where I wasn't. Anyways,
What?
more importantly, where's map 2? Map 2 is Clubhouse. Clubhouse is in Germany. And it's also probably the most default map that Rainbow Six Siege has. I would argue. I think many would agree with that assessment. Where it is, it's not 7-4. Or that's the result on back. But it's a map that is going to be very comfortable to both of these teams. Although there is the sentiment that a lot of people tend to have, which is, don't bring a worse team to Clubhouse. Which, you could argue after the last map that that is exactly what No Mama's Way have done, but, you know, we'll have to see. They're going to be fairly comfortable going into Clubhouse, I would say. Just because they kind of know they've already gotten the job done. I believe they know they've already gotten the job done, so they're in the play-ins. They're in a good position. You know, they can relax a little bit more on this map.
Absolutely. You know, as for Turtle Tactics, I'm sure they're probably a little bit like maybe they're a little bit discouraged. As for No Mama's Way, they're happy. They're a bundle of joy. I think Turtle Tactics, now the fact that they have lost, they won't be able to make their way into the play-ins at all. Which is a little bit unfortunate, but we're still going to be playing this map anyways. Mainly, I guess, for No Mama's Way to see how many points they can actually gain. Another note though, if you guys weren't here for last map was played on Bank. No Mama's Way did end up beating Turtle Tactics 7-4. Turtle Tactics put up a really great fight at the tail end of that game. Unfortunately, though, No Mama's Way were able to just get the job done and finish it out. Hopefully, this map will be a little bit closer because map 1 split was looking like 5-1 in favor of No Mama's Way. Not something you really want to, you know, put yourself in that situation. Not only that, but that was Turtle Tactics map pick. Now we're going to be going on to the map pick of No Mama's Way. So we'll see how well they perform now that they're going to be on their own map pick. Regardless, Maverick is going to be the first offensive operator taken off of the board.
I mean, it's a pretty good way to get some good mouse tools off the board early. Maverick is very prevalent on this map. On really every site, he has some sort of usefulness, especially for CCTV, which is already kind of a hellhole to defend. Blackbeard, again, sharing that last ban, the ban from No Mama's Way, from Bank, is just a very potent operator no matter where you put him, so it makes sense that they don't want to deal with him. They're going to repeat, again, their ban of Valkyrie, who, I mean, kind of like I said last time, she is just good everywhere that you take her. Gun with no recoil, C4, tons and tons of intel that can be hidden away. What is there not to love, or I guess hate if you're No Mama's Way? And then WEY is the final ban from Turtle Tactics, which is one that a little bit out of left field, but I think does make a lot of sense, as there are a lot of power positions that you would typically see a WEY holding, such as Rafters for CCTV. And so Turtle Tactics have decided that they don't want to deal with it. They can defend without it, and they want to make No Mama's Way have to defend without it as well.
Well, on another note, though, speaking of Rafters, the Azami on the board. Amazing for holding that Raptors position. I feel like if she's not banned, she's always utilized and use to
Oh,
her
yeah.
fullest ability. Because, yeah, look, the Valk is off the board, but, that also leaves a zombie on the board. And Turtle Tactics not wasting any time at all. They're going to immediately use her. And maybe that was the plan. Maybe they thought that, No Mama's Way ended up banning Valk. This is a straight. We got to use as many eggs in our baskets as we possibly can. And so they opted to have that one mindset of the Azami, knowing that these first 6 rounds are going to be, for their defense. So they figure, let's use her as much as we can now before the round swap's over. And No Mama's Way are now on the defense.
Kind of some early aggression by the defenders on the top floor, although notably they're both attached to staircases. So if they do need to get on quickly, there is the possibility to do that. Spider shows some early aggression as well over towards Dirt, but he is more so just there to make some noise for a little bit, so HUD is hesitant to just walk right in. As the other 2 roamers are off site just to shoot a couple drones, then walk back down the staircase they're on top of. Although, if No Mama's Way realize where they are, then they can certainly be cut off.
Well, we'll see a little bit of cutting off. It's going to be the cutting off of Zonki's head top by Mr. Twisted Tea. He's going to be the first one to get taken down. That's the Azami as well, which Azami's ability recharges over time. So the longer she stays alive, the better, because the more she gets use out of her ability. Unfortunately, well, she's no longer going to be able to be of use unless she's on a camera. And so now, just about a minute already into the round, and True Tactics are at that man disadvantage. No Mama's Way having that man advantage. Hopefully they're going to be able to capitalize on that and do with it as best as they can. Seems like a lot of them are already established good footing, especially on this main floor, as they're going to start to slowly but surely make their way down, especially with this vert. However, Trev Mack has anything to say about it, it's not going to be as easy as pie. Pie really easy?
Yeah, it's got a good... I mean, it goes down easy.
3.14. Oh, I was thinking about the
Attackers have located a bomb.
I was thinking about the math pie.
I mean, it's not really hard for the most part, although it is, I guess, hard to do the homework where they give it to you on, but I think it's more talk about the food pie is Trebmax not gonna get any, as his head's taken off, actually. That's another great uncontested pick for No Mama's Way, bringing us into this execute. And with Millie expending his C4, the utility these defenders have to defend themselves is going to be severely limited, which is going to really play into the hands of these attackers if they play their card.
Well, we'll see how the attackers are going to start moving their way in with that 2-man advantage. Dirt seems like it's going to be a real big pressure point. Teak is not only going to find one, but he's going to find that second one. And that's unfortunate. A flawless round so far. Amazing work. And, I mean, that use of that Goyo canister, perfect. Or no, sorry, that was the Capitan Bolt. My bad. Not the Goyo canister, but being able to make use of that Capitan Firebolt, amazing job. Congratulations to No Mama's Way. George Tactics already opting to just go to gym and bedroom. They've had enough of that basement. That was not the wave.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're like, there was just a very good awareness from No Mama's Way of where people were and kind of who could be isolated. We see them isolate, I want to say it was like Dami on that Azami early on, and then as well Trebback is just kind of caught alone on main stairs. And they recognize both of those positions as being very advantageous to them. So they really work on isolating those players and just forcing them to move and get killed. And then once they get to that point, then again, they pull back a little bit, they figure out what the site looks like and where the defenders are, and then once they have all that set up, then they go for that execute. Is once again, just tempering that aggression all throughout the round, so Turtle Tactics aren't able to catch people off guard.
I'm surprised that they don't bring a castle. Then again, I guess all these operators are very useful. These defensive operators are very useful, especially maybe if a zombie was banned, then they would have picked that castle. But for you know, seeing that they're extending out over into Cash and CCA, you know, a lot of the time people bring over that castle, but won't be the case this time around. Maybe they're opting to have that zombie instead. Anyways, doesn't matter. Gonna be making their way through already. No Mama's Way, not sparing any time at all. I heard that walls were already starting to get opened using that thermite charge. They've used one, maybe potentially looking to use another, perhaps on that jacuzzi wall, and that seems like that's going to be the exact case. It's exactly what's going to be happening, and now jacuzzi walls is going to be opened up. I'm assuming that that construction wall is also going to be that one wall that gets opened up. So, two potential other lines of entry for the boys on No Mama's Way. They've made great progress already in just the minute that they've been in this round.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot done here, and really, a lot of this site is just opening things up and then trying to force people to move into those openings that you've made for them. And that's kind of in the stage that No Mama's Way are in right now. We can see that they are starting to prepare to make people move with that Ying and the Grim. But then they have to as well be in the positions to catch those movements. Especially with that Amaru.
And boom, there you go. Reapers and T. T is actually going to find himself 2. Reapers will find himself 1. And we might just get back-to-back flawless rounds. You are kidding me. The defense of Turtle Tactics just does not seem like it's going in their favor at all. This, however, I will say, is what I like to see. Why? Clubhouse, chosen by No Mama's Way. I always say this, but if you pick a map, you best believe that your offense better be strong on it, especially on a map like Clubhouse. Everybody knows this map. No Mama's Way doing a great job at being aggressive, but also doing it at the perfect time. And I think that it's good that they picked this map and they're able to perform so nicely on it because they picked it, and that's exactly how it should be.
Honestly, I mean, you know, I do tend to agree. I think that if you pick a map, you typically are saying, this is my sandcastle, not yours. And you want to be good at defending that sandcastle, but I give me even that, just like the things that are making No Mama's Way work on Clubhouse are very similar to Bank, I would say. Right, because I've talked about all these things before, right? They're very good at tempering the aggression throughout the round, so they're not just going at one consistent pace that Turtle Tactics can adapt to. They have a very good awareness of where the Turtle Tactics defenders are and what they're doing and how they can be isolated. And they're also very good at really well set up executes that are very difficult to deal with. And that all that's just coalesced into this beautiful 10-0 on kills, 2 flawless attacking rounds that we've seen.
That coalesce, that's the word for the day, huh? I never heard that word before, I will be honest with you. Anyways, I like it. I'm gonna look more up honest so I can kind of sound smart just like you. But anyways. No Mama's Way already making their way into the buildings. And by No Mama's Way, I mean literally just Reapers. He's pushed himself into this washroom area and he's making his way in slowly but surely, adding that pressure, that little bit of pressure that will make Turtle Tactics shake in their boots a little bit. As for his other teammates, Drix, Joe, and Hunt have all started to make their way in through the building, and I'm sure that T will be soon to follow now that it's been just over a minute into the round. As for the Turtle Tactics, however, everybody is tucked down in sight. Nobody is playing off site at all. They're all just chilling, waiting for the attackers to come to them. We'll see if that's going to be the way to go because, I mean, previously holding this site down has not been easy for them at all. They held it down, got flawless, tried to hold down Gym and Bedroom, and got flawless. We'll see if this round will be a little bit different for them, but the first one to get taken down is going to be Mr. Trevmat.
They left him in the same position they did last round, where he got absolutely destroyed because they weren't able to properly support him. And it's happened again. And just giving that easy way into the round for No Mama's Way is, I mean, it's an oversight that is surely going to come back and bite the rest of Turtle Tactics, is now again they've given that man advantage over to Nomama's Way, who are right now preparing for that execute, figuring out what the site looks like, putting the pieces in place so they can pay it off somewhere in the next 40 seconds.
Yeah, well, 40 seconds, like you said, is exactly how much time we have left on the board. And No Mama's Way, I mean, they haven't gotten this hatch open. They're looking to finally get it open. And there comes the EMP grenades. But HUD is going to get taken down by Mr. Zonky. 20 seconds now effectively on the board. Not only that, but bullets flying everywhere. People taking mad damage. A 4v2 now to the Tactics. 2-man disadvantage, but T will get taken out. It's going to be a 1v3 now. Joe still having that bomb in hand. Tricks will find that final kill. And Turtle Tactics defense not looking too good. Hey, No Mama's Way, great at that late game. Hopefully, we'll be seeing a little bit of some change. Turtle Tactics not doing the best job at being able to hold this down.
Yeah, I mean, just you have to switch up the game plan a little bit. You have to, I mean, look at the positioning that those two players held there that allowed Reapers to get 2 kills from that hatch. I mean, it's like they're not, like, aware of what's happening in that late round, when I would argue the awareness is going to be the most important of what your opponents are doing and where they are. And that just allows for 2 free kills to break that stalemate that really could have formed in that situation. We saw No Mama's Way start to struggle a little bit, start to panic, as they didn't really look like they had a super concrete plan to actually get into the site. But then Reapers just breaks the round open because 2 people are caught out of position. And then earlier in that round, they had Trebek in the same position that he'd been in previously, where he'd also gotten isolated and killed in the same way. Like, you need to be preventing these things from happening. You need to support your players in power positions. You need to watch your spacing when the execute is going down.
Yeah, there's a lot of holes in Turtle Tactics. And I mean, I will cut them some slack after map 1. I'm sure that they're not feeling the greatest, but I mean, it's just not the best look. Regardless, we're going to be going to a completely new site, CC and Cash. As we've seen Turtle Tactics go to the basement and that gym and bedroom, they've lost both those sites every time that they went. And so now they got to mix it up. They got to toss the fruit salad a little bit. They got to mix it up a little bit, add a couple more fruits and take out a couple. I'm not too sure what they got to do, but they got to figure out how they're going to deny and slow down No Mama's Way, because hey, these last 3 rounds, the first 2 were flawless. That last one, a great use of that late game and time management. Being able to make the right calls and be in the right position when it really matters.
He's being targeted by Deimos, so his position will be, I mean, noticed by the attack. They're going to know exactly where he is, and so he's just going to abandon that late flank he had planned and run back more or less to the site, or at least get quite close to it. As we see that Drix wants this fight, he wants to get that early pick, but he's also being careful with doing so, especially since Reaper gets that kill onto the Tubero, which is a terrible pick to lose, and now they have Dami surrounded. He has to fight on this staircase, and it's a terrible position to be in. And he's gonna get killed for it, and that's 2 uncontested picks. Going the way of No Mama's Way. There are other people who are also pressuring the site right now, and that Dokubi call is gonna make retaliation much more difficult.
Well, at the very least, the boys and Turtle Tactics have found themselves 1 kill, but HUD is going to make that 2-man disadvantage back to normal. It's going to be 4v2 now with 35 seconds remaining on the board. No Mama's Way have a lot of leeway. They've got 2 men to their disposal. And make it 3 men as HUD is going to find himself another. It's going to be on to Trev Mag, and it's going to be up to Mr. Spider, who unfortunately cannot keep up with the heat, the constant pressure. And that is going to be the 4th round win for the boys on No Mama's Way. It's not looking too good for Turtle Tactics.
I think that might be a little bit of an understatement, but you know, that's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly,
maybe not
like,
just a little too bad, but very bad for them. Horrible, I should say.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
yeah, I mean,
Not ideal.
Clubhouse is. I mean, it's a map that really rewards solid, fundamental play. The team that plays their fundamentals the best is the one that's going to win out. And thus far, as the scoreline will tell, that has been No Mama's way. As every step of the way, they've played as a team. They've clearly been communicating very, very effectively. And the way that they're taking space has been exquisite. I mean, the best example I could think of is Reapers and Drixus holding the cross on Secret Stairs that last round, so no matter where Zonky went on that mute, he was a dead man walking. Just little things like that have been so consistent for No Mama's Way throughout this whole series, which is why they're presently 4-0.
I mean, they were playing great last map. Like you said, I like how you said that it's a map that rewards the fundamentals. I think too, though, I think that No Mama's Way have the slight edge over Turtle Tactics when it comes to just overall fundamentals, mechanics. I think that Turtle Tactics are able to somewhat keep up, but not consistently. There's some times where they do incredible, and then other times where you can definitely tell that No Mama's Way, at least to the bare eyes, as my kind of untrained, unskilled caster eyes, it does seem like No Mama's Way have more of that playing off of each other, that more chemistry, that more time that we're putting together overall as a team. But anyways, Jacuzzi well beginning to be open, that slight bit of pressure coming in for the boys on Turtle Tactics, and some more might be added, as perhaps they're going to be going in through either Cash or Logi, essentially something like that. Nobody has made their way into the building yet, but it's not necessary right now. There's going to be people holding on to these highway window positions, and we'll see how this round continues, as there's about a minute and a half remaining. And are they aware that Dami is over by Rafters? I can't believe Dami lost that. You gotta be kidding me. Oh my god, having that advantage and basically watching that main walk in that entire time. That's unfortunate. And unfortunately, Dami, 0-5, Reapers will be the one to take him out.
There's about a minute left here, so I mean, they do still have to be efficient, but just getting that opening pick, again, gives so much room. But most of the hard work's already been done for No Mama's Way. They've opened up everything. They've gotten rid of so many of these power positions that the defense would normally want to occupy. So they really do have their choice of where they want to go and where they could try to get this bomb down.
Well, now approaching to the last 40 seconds of the round. I even wanted to point out, look at the kills on No Mama's Way. It looks like No Mama's Way is just Twisted Tea and Reapers versus Turtle Tactics. 2-man versus the entirety of Turtle Tactics. But 25 seconds now. Joe does have the bomb. Is he going to be able to safely make his way in through this window? Not too sure, but flashes are going to be coming out along with the Grim Beast. Trev is going to, at the very least, equalize out the score to a 4v4, and this bomb is going to begin to get planted. Joe finally be able to plant that, and we're in a post-plant situation now. Still going to be a 4v4, but a lot of these defenders are going to be pinged due to these bees. A 3v3 as picks are coming up from either side in 35 seconds. It does take you 7 to defuse the bomb, so at the very least, if the boys on Turtle Tactics to get these final 3 kills, they're going to need 7 seconds to spare. With it not looking too good, as they're going to need to get these last 3 kills, unless they can ghost defuse it within the next little bit. Reaper's going to find onto Zonky. So the dad's going to be down 1 man. The defuse is no longer going to be going out, but at the very least, it's a 2v2. Not a lot of time left remaining on the board now, and they're going to be forced to try and get this defusal off in a 2v1. And wow, an amazing effort, but not enough. No Mama's Way. Amazing job getting that plan down, and well, we're looking at split. This could be a potential 6-0.
I mean, it wouldn't be obviously it wouldn't be the first I've casted. I've casted at least 4 games. Going I've been casting for like 3 years. But jokes aside, that was a very phenomenally set up execute from the MAMES WEY, right? They had opened everything in the early round before they really started like trying to hunt down bodies, so there wasn't a ton of room for Turtle Tactics to move around to escape their clutches. And then once they went for that execute, they took advantage of everything they had open. They had people on windows, they had someone on the jacuzzi breach, they had people inside of construction as well. And so when Joe was holding that plant button, there was no way for anyone at Turtle Tactics to rebuff that and kill him. And then he gets pretty aggressive after he dies, but then he goes 1 for 1, and the rest of the team is very good at tempering their aggression again, so that there's just enough that Turtle Tactics can't move around comfortably, but there's not enough for them to take advantage of.
You know what I think? I think MAMES WEY really truly have understood that Turtle Tactics are not necessarily that good at being able to hold up in that late round. I've casted MAMES WEY before, but I don't feel like I've ever truly seen them play the late game so heavy as they have against Turtle Tactics. Not just this map, but even last map too. I feel like they kind of understand the weak point of Turtle Tactics, or at least that's how it appears to me. Regardless, Dami is going to get taken out. He was first pick last round, first pick this round, now 0-6. Not the best performance for him, that is for sure. Not only that, but Turtle Tactics now going to be down 1 player. That's your Azami, another pivotal operator you don't want to lose so early on in the game, but unfortunately, they will. So no MAMES WEY have that man advantage, as we still got 2 minutes remaining in the round.
Once again, just figuring out where people are. Looks like there's a lot of focus on, or being placed on Master Bedroom this time, which I do think makes sense, as it's a good adaptation from what they did the previous round. Although even if they do want to go for CCTV wall, it does just make sense to have people over in that area. As the next target is going to be Zonky, who's actually going to get the pick on the Drixus. It's going to deny getting those 2 picks in a row. And that's going to place a little bit more pressure on the rest of the MAMES WEY and force them to slow down a little bit here as they try to recuperate that loss and prevent themselves from incurring any further ones.
I mean, the MAMES WEY, at the very least, they have that kind of leisure. They're able to kind of make these little mistakes and not worry too much about it. Turtle Tactics are going to be the ones that are truly going to be fighting for their lives, but not a crazy amount of time left remaining on the board. At the very least, Joe does have that bomb. Is he going to be able to do much with it? We will find out. 2 players, not just one, both on the top of Raptors waiting, and I'm sure that the boys on No MAMES WEY are very aware that they are both there, seen as, you know, they're having such a close eye on it. But now we're moving on to the last 30 seconds of the round. Like I said, Joe still having that bomb. He's going to be on the con side. Is he going to be accompanied by anybody? Reapers will be the one who accompany him. Not only that, but that's the Capitan. Perfect. Going to block off points of entry using the Capitan Firebolt and using... Spider! Boy, ain't no way, boy! Boy, ain't no way, boy! Final round of split. Spider! Give that man a round of applause. The C4 from hell to shut down any entry coming in from construction. Amazing job. Could this be the potential glue that is leading the boys on Turtle Tactics to OT? We'll see.
But honestly, if that was the start of the comeback, I think there's no better start for a comeback. The 3-piece with the 1 C4. But there was a little bit that led up to that, which was mainly just that round, there was a much better job from Turtle Tactics of just preventing No MAMES WEY from getting in like they wanted to. With the exception of Dami, kept the bodies up very, very effectively and stood their ground. And so when they're trying to go for a haphazard execute in the last 20 seconds, that's the perfect opportunity for a play just like what Spider just did.
well, hopefully we'll be seeing that again because Turtle Tactics are 4 rounds behind and they're going to be attacking on club. This is no Mama's Ways map pick. So hopefully they can win it out at least a couple more rounds so that, you know, the scoreboard isn't so far apart. It won't be like a 7-1 win or a 7-2. You know, they can give themselves a couple more rounds. But Dami, who's been infamously first picked for, you know, quite a bit of these rounds, is actually going to be the first one in the building and the first one to make the real step over into this site. He wants to get in there fast. He wants to get in there hard. And so he's at the bottom of these main stairs, potentially looking for a pick of himself, one off guard.
I mean, if someone tries to walk up the staircase, they're certainly not going to be expecting the Ying shotgun, and I see he's also been watching Spirits play inside of Reload over in Rio. Now there's just over half the round remaining. Dami is still holding his position. The rest of his team is working the rest of the map, trying to figure out how to get these hatches open, where people are, what needs to be done, and if they can isolate a pick before they actually try to get into the bomb site. Because there's a reason No Mama's Way were so focused on doing it before they did the actual executes. Because that is so much breathing room, and it's so constraining for your opponents. It's just too good of an advantage to not try to focus on.
And, I mean, we've mentioned this before, but Turtle Tactics not always the best at time management. Look, a minute remaining in the round, they're starting to get hatches open, and Dami has been at the bottom of these main stairs since 30 seconds into the round. He's been sat here for like a minute and a half. I don't know what, like, was the purpose. You know, I mean, I know he's trying to catch somebody off guard, but we're really going to sit there because that's one less person to grab intel. That's one less person to, you know, take space. A little bit disappointing, but anyways, 30 seconds remaining now in the round. Turtle Tactics are going to have to force their way in through. The Yang Tantels look like they're going to be starting to come through. Not only that, but, I mean, hey, Dami was at the very least by those bottom main stairs. He's no longer going to be there. He's going to be helping out his teammates. He is also going to be the one with the bomb. Spider's going to be the first one to get taken out. And fortunately, Dami is going to be DVNO'd. His picks coming out left, right, and center for the boys on Turtle Tag. This is not looking too good. At the very least, it won't be a flawless. It'll be a 3v2. They're going to try and pick up that diffuser. And the smoke left by Joe is going to be the thorn in their side. Turtle Tactics, not the best offensive round, but I mean, certainly it was closer to that late game. It was like a 3v2, so close, but it was a 3v2 with 2 seconds left. What are you going to do with that?
Exactly what just happened, probably. And it's, I mean, it's a replay of all the hits from the defenses that made Bank so good for No Mama's Way. Just keeping Turtle Tactics from really making any tangible progress, right? Because they're giving up a lot of map control fairly quickly. There was a lot of time the Turtle Tactics had to work things like the hatches. But beyond that, there's really not a whole lot of progress actually like working the site itself that Turtle Tactics have going into that execute. And so that means that they're all coming from one singular hatch, which we saw everyone on No Mama's Way circling like sharks before that execute happened. And so instead of like this thing where you have multiple pressure points that all coalesce, you just have people trying to shove themselves in a tube that is very, very, very small.
We'll see now as No Mama's Way are going to be putting themselves at match point. Turtle Tactics have put themselves in a very constricted space. They don't have a lot of room to do much at all except for play this game to the best of their abilities and outsmart No Mama's Way. But at the rate that No Mama's Way have been playing, it doesn't seem like Turtle Tactics are really in the right type of state of mind to outplay No Mama's Way, at least not 4 or 5 rounds in a row. So, you know, they'll play it to the best of their ability. Same thing with No Mama's Way, but Like I said, I think time management is the real problem with the boys on Turtle Tactics.
And it's been exacerbated by the attempts by No Mama's Way. They're, what, like 8-0 on opening kills right now. That is absolutely huge. The diffuser's been surrendered. Trebmac's life has been surrendered. They're not going to be opening really much of anything now, actually. I don't think he had the opportunity to use much of any of his gadget. And that is, yet again, reinforcing that issue they had last round of not enough things being open. Because if they have to funnel in through doorways or just a few holes that are the size of the can openers, that's not going to be nearly enough with how proficient No Mama's Way have been on their defenses.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and you hit it perfectly. Like when you are kind of putting yourself in a situation where you can only enter from a certain point, or you know, 1 out of 2 spaces, it's just gonna make it very easy to deny you because all you gotta do is wait. Regardless, Joe is gonna get taken out. Millie will be the one to deal that definitive blow. And it's going to be a 4v4 now, just under a minute remaining. We'll see if Turtle Tactics are going to be able to close this gap even further and get themselves another pick, or if they're going to fall to the blunder of No Mama's Way as we now approach these final 40 seconds. Everybody is by sight. No Mama's Way not doing anything other than just bunkering and doing exactly what they got to do. Okay, some people maybe get a little bit anxious. They start running around trying to flank, but that's not going to be necessary here. Reapers is going to take out Mr. Zonky, leaving the boys on Turtle Tactics with one less player to work with. Now, finally, 20 seconds at the very least. Spider does have a hold of this bomb. Is he going to be able to get this plant down? He's going to be hit as he tries to jump in, and there you go. The problem, the funneling in from just one window. It's just too easy to deny the entry from that window. And it looks like it's too easy for No Mama's Way as they've won club 7-1.
I mean, phenomenal job from them, and I believe that should secure them a spot in play-ins. Like, if winning the first map didn't do that, then the 7-1 victory on the second absolutely should. And with the way they played these 2 games tonight, they really did deserve it. The game against the Youngs was a lot closer than this one, but even still, just that, I mean, that prowess they showed tonight across both games, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, you know, I say that the Youngs game was closer, but the Youngs were top 4 in Challenger Series, if memory serves, so beating them 7-5, 7-5, that 2-0 victory is still absolutely nothing to scoff at. And especially when it's compounded with the 7-4, 7-1, almost 7-0 victory that they had against Turtle Tactics tonight. Just destroying any chances Turtle Tactics had of not being last place in their group. And also, I mean, I think securing a position in the play-ins with a lot of momentum going into that where they really could do something with it.
Yeah, it was a great job tonight from No Mama's Way. They played even prior a BO3, so a lot of maps for them tonight and a lot of victories nonetheless. As for Turtle Tactics, unfortunately, they lost tonight, and I'm pretty sure that they will not be able to make play-ins with this loss. So that's going to be very unfortunate. But No Mama's Way, like Ali had mentioned, I'm pretty sure secure themselves a spot in play-ins, but regardless, thank you guys so much for watching us tonight for this BO3 and for any previous BO3 that you watched on behalf of Ali and me, any other caster previously, along with the production at TPL. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Sunday night for this BO3. And we'll be seeing you guys, I believe, next time, which will be play-ins. Am I correct?
I have no idea.
Tomorrow, yes, play-ins. So we'll be seeing you guys tomorrow for the play-ins of TPL. Have yourself a great night, and if you're working tomorrow, well, have fun at work. I know Ali is gonna have great fun at work, and if you're not at work, well, enjoy the day off. Have a great night, guys. Be safe. Peace.